We're shifting focus away from what exactly is transpiring in Manipur towards, of course, the big outcomes of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting with US President Donald Trump. He's, of course, met him at the White House in Washington. A dinner was, in fact, hosted by President Trump. Of course, both leaders discussed strengthening the India-US bilateral partnership across various sectors. Now, during the meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump have, of course, discussed various issues including trade, including defense, including technology, energy, security and people-to-people ties as well. They also exchanged views on regional and international developments of mutual interest. But viewers, let's in fact take a look at some of the takeaways of the meeting between Donald Trump as well as Prime Minister Narendra Modi. First up, we of course have the 500 billion trade target that has been set for 2030. There's of course the Prime Minister has also reiterated India's stance as far as the deportation of illegal immigrants from the US is concerned. There's of course been a big talk over Thakur Rana's extradition. Trump has also stated that he's looking at selling F-35 fighter jets to India. These are of course the latest state-of-the-art tech. MAGA has met MEGA. Make India great again is what Narendra Modi has said during his meet with Donald Trump. He's in fact drawn similarities between Vikasit Bharat and Make America Great Again, stating that it will in fact be a game changer in order to drive growth across the world. The Indo-China issue is also something that President Trump had touched upon. He stated that he's looking at resolving border tensions between India and China. We'd seen a breakthrough a couple of months back. So, of course, we are heading in that direction. As far as the Russia-Ukraine war is concerned, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, of course, once again stated that India is not a neutral partner to all of this. We are, of course, batting for peace since day one, and we've, of course, seen significant strides made by President Trump in order to realize peace between Ukraine and Russia. He's called up and dialed up both President Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine as well. Civil nuclear agreement is another interesting facet. They, of course, both leaders have announced their commitment to fully realize US-India 123 civil nuclear agreement by moving forward with plans to work together to build US-designed nuclear reactors in India. Civil space cooperation is another very interesting sector, especially considering the fact that NASA and ISRO are looking at launching the NISAR project very, very soon. Of course, the Axiom project is also going to bring the very first Indian astronaut to the International Space Station, and the Quad is also going to be held in India this year, later sometime this year. We have with us on the broadcast Vibhuti Jha. He is a former Republican candidate from New York and also former RBI, American Express, or Bank of America principal as well. So thank you so much for taking out time and sitting with NewsX. It's been a very comprehensive meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump. Several key takeaways have been announced, but most importantly, a very ambitious bilateral trade target has been set for 500 billion by 2030. Where do you see India-US economic ties headed?
Thank you very much for having me today. Just one correction. I never worked for Bank of America. I was always American Express, RBI and American Express. Okay, having said that, I'm very, very happy to note that both the countries, both the leaders of the country committed to enhance India's trade share with America from $84 billion of current level as announced by the 2024 census of US data to $500 billion. This is exactly what I had said a few days ago in my little show that I do, in which I had said that the focus of these two gentlemen, these two leaders, would be driven by very significant convergence of interests. That's very critical. MAGA is making America great again, and India's Make in India and Vikasit Bharat is same agenda. And both the countries can complement each other towards achieving that goal. It might surprise many of the viewers here that in the top 10 trading partners of America, India ranks 10th, below Ireland, below Vietnam, and one more country like that. But Mexico is tops at $440 billion. So look at the scope that exists between India and the US with reference to enhancing their economic cooperation and trade. So that is something which is very vital. And I've said that they should try to raise it from $86 billion to $200 or $300 billion in a given time frame. And I'm delighted that they said $500 billion by 2030. That's a great one. The second convergence of point is that issue that you referred to earlier on, Rana's extradition back to India. Now, this has been hanging for a long time. Both Modi and Trump are committed to taking care of the terrorism problem or the kind of activities that goes in undermining freedom as a tool of democracy, undermining freedom as the fault line of democracy. These people take advantage of the freedoms that our societies offer. Now that is being curtailed. And I opine that in between the friendship of these two people, there's one very simple, very significant psychological factor. Both don't drink, both don't smoke, and they both don't serve cocaine or anything else like that. They have this very critical alignment of personal views and thoughts. Trump has even banned or has told his children from 3 wives, no drinks, no drugs, no alcohol. Think about it from that perspective. This is what the convergence of purpose comes to. And that the third element, which is very important here, is international arena. Trump recognizes, as a leader of the country and a businessman, he recognizes that problems have to be solved. They cannot be allowed to linger on. It only gets worse. And to that end, you have seen that this man is a builder-developer. His essential being is of developing and creating a brand and building golf courses, real estate, and everything else. He is not a destroyer. So as a result of which, everything he looks at, he hates destruction of buildings and properties. That's what he keeps telling, that Ukraine has been decimated. Gaza has been decimated. They have to be built back. And what is the solution for that? Let's come together on that issue. This is what is driving both the leaders as a convergence of issues. Yes, there will be disagreements, no doubt. Friends have disagreements, husband and wives have disagreements. Doesn't matter that you abandon them, but you solve those problems. So here I have said it before that Trump and Modi will converge on issues that are of common interest. That the globe needs peace, everybody recognizes that. And the people who are abusing the systems and processes, they have to be curbed. You can see what is happening in the United States itself when he's trying to cut the waste that is happening in the government spending to such an extent that it is absolutely mind-boggling for every American. So the era of dollar being the reserve and the reserve currency and the currency of trade, Trump wants to protect that. And it can only be done by curbing America's financial obesity, that we are at $36 trillion trade deficits, trillions of dollars of interest payment. He knows as a businessman that it is not sustainable. And to that end, he is using tariffs as a tool. About tariff, I will also make a mention here. Tariff has always been a negotiation tool between two countries because each country wants to protect its own interests. The only way that you can protect your interest is to levy taxes so that only those people who are interested in buying them spend money. To that extent, the revenue comes to the country. And those who want to consume, they pay because they want to do that. And a classic example is in India itself. That India, the luxury cars, if you look at the market here, and I see them, a whole lot of them these days, people are paying 3 times the sticker price of cars that exist in Manhattan expensive showrooms. So if Indians are willing to pay 3 times the price, the revenue goes to the government. These are matters of negotiation. And as Mr. Trump very rightly said, that Modi is not only a better negotiator, he is also a tough negotiator. So Modi ji knows his ropes. And that's where I had always opined that this was the respect shown to India, that he invited him within 100 days of his becoming the president in his tenure. Very select people were called, and he was the third or the fourth one. And I have also said that Mr. Modi was not coming here to see Washington monuments. He was coming here with a purpose. And the purpose was how to make the much talked about the strategic partnership and natural allies to the next level. And that's what is important here, that the relationship is being translated into actionable elements in which both the countries benefit from each other's relationship. Yesterday, we talked about FDA in another forum, and I said FDA will come because Trump is against multilateral agreements. So is Modi. That's why he did not join many of the multilateral agencies. They are focused on how do we make our relationship prosper first. And remember one thing, I have always maintained that both these countries are the two most prominent democracies of the world. In my opinion, I believe that these two people will redefine democracy and sustain democracy as a rule of law in many parts of the world. Because you know, and we know, and everybody knows that the leftist and the certain vested interests, the woke army as it is popularly known, they were trying to dismantle these two countries specifically. Because should these countries fall, you can see democracy will fall too. And that's what these people are trying to uphold and ensure that it happens. And there is a very important part, reciprocal tariffs. That word is extremely significant. It is all about, if you tax my certain item, I will tax your certain item. And that's the part of a mutual agreement, which items to tax, which items to don't, to protect your domestic industry as well as to expand your export. That's what is important here, that these two leaders have shown tremendous maturity in recognizing the global scenario and the imperative of their own domestic needs. And it is absolutely within their rights. I have always maintained, I have said this many times, that in Trump's MAGA and Modi's Viksit Bharat, there is significant alignment. Both need each other. 60-40 or 70-30 or 50-50, those are matters of semantics people talk about. I don't need them as much as America needs me. That is a rubbish kind of an argument. It's like in your body, which part of your body you don't need? You need the body when you need to use it, right? That's what is important to understand. And I think this friendship will blossom. And as Modi said in there, that howdy Modi in Houston and namaste Trump in Ahmedabad, that is the bedrock of all the things. And here is another element. Mr. Trump will be coming to India for the Quad meeting, that's Quad summit that will happen. And Quad has been acknowledged as the instrument of Indo-Pacific peace and prosperity for all.
Indeed, and